My name is Constance Zhanje. I'm the Pavilion Director for Zimbabwe here at EXPO Milan 2015. I think the biggest problem is communication, because people in the rural areas, they still look at the seasons the way they used to in the olden times. They still want to grow the crops like maize in areas where now you are supposed not to be growing maize. So education is very important, because people should be able not to go and look for food elsewhere, but they are supposed to get it within their vicinity. So communication, education is what we need, so that they get to know that the climate is no longer the same like what we used to have. There are these other things that are taking place, and when do we need to start planting our crops? Is it during the first rains in October, or it's during now the rains that come in January? Because I think for the past 3-4 years, we don't get enough rain in December. November and December used to be the period where we were having heavy rains. So the people wait for that period. And when it comes in January, it's just too much. The issue of climate change, I think globally, people were not yet taking it serious. It's only when it starts affecting you that you start understanding. So if we could have extension officers that can now start educating our people in terms of climate change, that it's no longer the same. What is happening in the environment, they need to understand. So it's still there and there, the patches. And I would also want to see it as a syllabus in primary school, in high school, in tertiary schools, so that it's not just left to universities and agricultural colleges.
My name is Mercy Chatyoka, and I'm a food technologist from Zimbabwe. I'm studying for a master's in food innovation here in Italy. And we are here in the Zimbabwean Pavilion because we intend to let you know about Zimbabwe and the challenges that Zimbabwe is facing in terms of food insecurity and malnutrition. My most prevalent concern is the issue of food production in its broader sense, because you find that not much has been done to capacitate the small-scale farmers. Most of the African continent has 60% of its food production being done by small-scale farmers, and not many of these small-scale farmers are not taken seriously. They do not have enough funding. They do not have land rights to make sure that they can use that to get funding or inputs and other resources that they need to produce enough of the food that is required for the nation. Yet at the same time, those are the main food producers, like in Zimbabwe and in the rest of African continent. Small-scale farmers do a lot of food production for the company as a whole.
We are not, our industry is not generating as much money as it can because of the sanctions that we have had. They called them targeted sanctions, but you go to Zimbabwe, they've affected from the village level to everybody, because companies could not borrow elsewhere or overseas. When they borrow, it's very, very high in terms of the cost of that money. So it was sort of a closed, it was affecting everybody. But the opening up that has started with the EU and the assistance which the EU is now giving to companies in terms of capacitating them, in terms of training. We have also put some farmers to be trained using the EU resources, because now the market is opening to us. We are now able to get at least some assistance. I think that can assist, because as government on its own, you know, you can only do so much.
So if this education and other material is now dispersed to the small-scale farmers and the rural population, then we can improve on the issue of food production and malnutrition. I certainly think if that is done at a large scale, we will get back to our glory of being in the food breadbasket of Africa, because we used to be that.